rsa.ie. A message from the Road Safety Authority.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday, the 21st of May. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S2. It's game number 21. The numbers are 38, 8, 33, 18, 27, 49, 79, 39, 74, and finally 24. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The life of a Charlie's chip is never dull. Once they're selected, they're off to Charlie's, where they lose that jacket, have a nice wash, and get into shape. Before going out, there's always a few nerves, totally unnecessary, because, let's face it, they always go down well. Enjoy Charlie's chips to sit in or take away daily from 12 to 8 at Pierce Road, Letterkenny. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's.
You might be surprised by the working family payment. For many working parents, covering the everyday costs of family life can be a stretch. But there's some good news. The working family payment is money the government pays to working parents, depending on their level of income and how many children they have. To find out if you qualify, visit gov.ie/WFP. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
Around the Northwest is coming live this Thursday from iMotors as part of their Kia and Nissan 242 event in Drumkeen. Find out more about the incredible offers across the full range of Kia and Nissan, including 0% finance on the Kia Niro EV or the amazing 10,000 off the new Nissan Leaf. So join us at iMotors this Thursday from 12 p.m.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. We've switched studios here now as we continue our series of local election debates. This is debate 2, and I suppose it's sort of part 1 of Buncrana. There are 12 candidates contesting 5 seats. It's going to be another hotly contested constituency, no doubt about that electoral area. We're having that debate just a little off air, so I think they're interchangeable. So what we'll do is we'll introduce our panel today and invite them also to take a minute or so, preferably a minute, just to sort of set the stall out before we get into the debate itself. Now, if you want to get involved in the conversation, please WhatsApp or text us on 086 60 25,000 or give us a call on 07491 25,000. And if you want to watch our candidates debate, get onto our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland. We're on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland News and Sport, and also on the X platform. So I'm actually just going to go down the list of people as they've been written down here in front of me. And we'll hear first from Fionan Bradley of Fianna Fáil. Good morning to you. Thank you for calling down. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you think people should vote for you.
Hi Greg, and first of all thank you for the opportunity to take part in this debate and just to welcome all my fellow candidates. So for anybody who doesn't know me, Fionan Bradley is my name. I'm 30 years old. I was born, reared, have lived and worked in Buncrana all of my life, and I'm happily married there now with one son. So why should you vote for me? I have a track record, I suppose, of community and voluntary involvement. I'm involved in the St Vincent de Paul, the GAA, the Initial Development Partnership, with theatre and drama societies, the Buncrana Pantomime Society and Inish Theatre Group. And anything that goes on in Buncrana, you'll usually find me there at the heart of it. So anybody who knows me and anybody who's worked with me will know that I'm a doer, very much a doer. I'm a man of action and I like working. Yeah, and that's all right.
No, we'll hear more and learn an awful lot more about you over the course of the next hour and 45 minutes. Jack Murray, Sinn Féin, looking to hold on to his seat, of course. Jack.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Jack Murray, I'm a Sinn Féin councillor and have been for the last 13 years. I was co-opted on back in 2011 to replace Paddy McLaughlin upon his election to the Dáil. I'll be asking people to vote for me based on my track record. I sincerely believe that I've worked extremely hard whenever called upon, but there's more that I want to do and there's more that I want to work on. I want to work to ensure there's more housing in Buncrana in all its forms, social, affordable, rental, houses to buy, and of course to continue to campaign to get our houses rebuilt that are crumbling due to defective blocks. I also want to continue to campaign for a new school build for Scully's, and of course the 3 school campuses being Crana College, Clashta Kilnoan and Gaelscoil Buncrana. But I'm also fighting this as one of 18 Sinn Féin candidates across County Donegal, and I think we're putting forward a very strong team. I think we're on the precipice of a potentially historic general election, and I think that Sinn Féin can lead the next government. So I want a very, very strong Sinn Féin team in Donegal working with a Sinn Féin government, which could include Paddy McLaughlin as Whip, Pierce Doherty as Minister for Finance, Eoin O'Brien as Minister for Housing, and I think working at that level we can undo much of the neglect that this part of the world in this county has endured for the best part of a century.
All right, thanks for that, Liam Mulligan. Welcome. Liam Mulligan standing for the Aontu party.
Thank you, Greg. I'm standing for Aontu in the thing to give people a chance to vote for an opposition party rather than a government or non-government party. There are various aspects of the council activities. A very important aspect, which is generally well covered by the local councillors, is the day-to-day stuff of trying to push for the local area to deal with local problems, intercession with the bureaucracy where the bureaucracy is not working. Very important part of the job. But the other parts are the structural issues of what the council is allowed to do, what the councillors can do, and we need to work to change away from the control by the bureaucracy where, as Leo Varadkar more or less told me, County Council, you're only a branch office of the central departments in Dublin. We need more subsidiarity, more control in the council, and we also need to consider the national input to this. This is very important nationally as well. We consider the 2019 elections when Sinn Féin were hammered in the local elections, and then in the 2020 general election we got the most generous manifesto since the Fianna Fáil manifesto of 1977 with absolutely not enough TDs to actually deliver on it, so potential TDs. So it is important nationally. We have to work the structure, and we do have at the same time to do what the councillors do well, the local stuff. It all has to be brought together.
Okay, we're joined also to, thank you very much by the way, sorry, we're also joined by Kim McMenamin, beg your pardon, who's an independent. And Kim, you're an independent, but is it under sort of like an umbrella of the Irish People Party? Before I'm going to allow, this is not to eat into your time, it's just to understand, Kim.
Yeah, it is a party registered, but it's for independents, people who would normally be independents, but now they have an opportunity to access a party, but there's no party whip, so we're totally independent within that. So in effect, technically we're independents and technically we're a party, kind of a bit of both. It's something new, it's something that has never been done before. Well, you can be a part
of a party, just for the listeners, you can be a part of a party, but also declare as an independent. So just to save anyone texting in, I wanted to be clear in all of that. So Kim, now to your time, sorry.
So we have 50 candidates, roughly 50 candidates throughout the country, and it's a new thing. It hasn't been done before, and we're hoping that it's going to be successful.
So why should people vote for you, Kim?
Simply because we feel the government has gone rogue on the issue of immigration, housing. There's so many issues, but those are the main ones that we're finding on the door when we knock on the doors. People saying immigration, housing, immigration. It's like two sides of the one coin. So we're trying to unflip that coin and find out what are the main reasons why we have a housing crisis and what are the main reasons why immigration is out of control. Over 79% of Irish people believe it's the government have lost control of immigration. It's just too much. People have had enough. People are feeling that Ireland is full and that we need to stop and control things a bit more so that we can house the Irish and get our own people sorted out first and foremost, because our people have to leave because there's no housing. They've got to leave this country. They're going to Australia. Simply, there is work. They're going because there's no houses and there's no rentals. There's no council houses. They just have to go. But all the while, they're bringing in loads of people from countries that are designated safe countries that they actually shouldn't be here. They're not fleeing war, that type of thing. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll dig into that as part of the debate as well. Eamonn McGee, independent. Eamonn?
Thanks very much for having me on your show.
It's good to have you with us.
My name's Eamonn McGee. I'm originally from Strabane. I'm a window cleaner locally here in Letterkenny and Newton Cunningham and Carrigans, them areas. My family are from Carrigans and Port Hall. I'm an independent defective block campaigner, and I believe that political ways is the only way that we're actually going to get success, to get compensation. Also, I'm a nationalist, and I think that our country's taking on too many people. Our young people haven't got an opportunity even to start a family, but people can come in from all over the world, from safe countries, be unvetted. We're letting them into our communities. We know nothing about them. And people are terrified. We see scenes in Dublin where children are getting walked to school. We've seen all the different things happening in our communities all over Ireland. People being murdered. Our rapes are up 1,000%.
And that's just fundamentally not true. It just is really, really important. I think that we base this on facts, and I really don't want to interpret rapes aren't up 1,000%.
At the end of the day, our government have a duty of care to protect all our citizens. Our government have a duty of care for all the services that we're facing, but we're put at the back of the queue, and this needs to change, because at the end of the day, it's our ancestors that built this nation, and I'm encouraging people to give me the first preference vote. And encouraging people to go down a list of independents, to give the independents a chance of a new government from council level right through to council level to government.
Mm-hmm. And just, as I say, we'll tease this out as part of the debate. You're independent, but you're a 100% redress candidate. Are you affiliated, Eamon, with any of the campaigns that are there, or it's just something you're really passionate about and you're making, you're describing yourself that...
my family home has defective blocks.
Yes.
We were on the old scheme. We were transferred to the enhanced scheme. We don't have the money like many other families. I'm involved along with 16 homeowners in Donegal. We are taking a judicial review in the Irish courts. And if
you're working along. This is the I'm not saying it's solely Councillor McBurty's initiative, but you're part of that initiative.
Yes.
Okay, I understand, and we'll get through some of that as well. It's just for my and the listeners' benefits. Last but not least, our first Fine Gael rep of the debate so far, Peter McLaughlin. Good morning to you. Explain why you believe people should give you a punt.
My name is Peter McLaughlin. I'm the Fine Gael candidate. I represent Buncrana. I represent South Inishowen. My plan is to represent Buncrana, South Inishowen and Donegal in that order. I've served on Buncrana Town Council from 1992 to 2014. I've been mayor on several occasions, and my aims are to protect Buncrana's position as a premier town in Inishowen. I've seen a downgrading of services in Buncrana. As a homeowner with the defective blocks, I'm only too aware of the struggles that we are all, the thousands of us, are all facing. I'm annoyed about the fact that countless amount of children are leaving Buncrana, leaving Inishowen to go into swimming pools in Derry when we have a swimming pool in Buncrana, and that is an issue. My concern: why should you vote for me? The reason you should vote for me, in my opinion, we are facing a different election this year. Normally you have an election and you lose one councillor, maybe a new councillor comes along, but this time's different. This time we're losing two councillors have stepped down, which has created a vacuum that's nearly 60 years of experience lost, 60 years of people that Nicholas and Rena have been fighting for Buncrana, and that is lost. My experience in Buncrana Town Council, I feel that would sort of partially redress the balance of that lack of representation.
You're saying you plug the experience gap. That would be your view.
Okay. Plug the experience gap.
Now, I mean, running through, we're going to get through to the issues. I mean, housing, right, is there, and then underneath housing, we've defective concrete. We have concerns about then availability of property, and a number of you also have then expressed concerns about the amount of people that have come into the county and tying up properties. So that will be our start point, I think, and we'll get through everything as much as possible. But we have to start with housing because it's the biggest show in town. I'll start anti-clockwise, I suppose, at this point. Kim McMenamin. Is it housing generally, or is it the fact that you are concerned that there's too many people coming in? What's your...
Well, it's the nature of the people coming in. Like, why like for instance, like I organised and stopped 66 single men getting into Walker's Lane beside a library and a school. 3 schools. And I got great support for doing that. And the reason I did it was because I thought it was dangerous, because 66%, over 60% are unvetted. So we don't know their background. We don't know if they're criminals. We just don't know that. We don't know anything about them. And I always say, if you put 66 men from Dublin, from any housing estate, and shoved them into a building and warehoused them for profit, because that's what's going on. People are benefiting. This is become an industry. So immigration is now an industry, and people are making millions.
So what
Flanagan
do you want to happen? What do you want to happen now then? You know, and I really want the listeners to know sort of how you feel you could affect change if elected. So you go into the council. How do you hope that your role there might impact on some of the concerns you've been highlighting?
Well, I think the concerns that I'm highlighting will make people aware of what's going on at a national level and how it's impacting them locally on regarding the housing issue again. So there's no rentals, there's no council houses, but the government can find accommodation for 250,000 people like that. But the Irish can't get housed, and they've got to leave. So there is discrimination
against people, Kim. The majority of those people not in sort of grouped accommodation that might not be suitable for the Irish homeless. Like, say, for instance, on the super prison, that's going to become tented accommodation. I mean, that's not really the solution to the Irish and inverted commas housing crisis.
Doesn't it look really bad when people are coming in and they're put on the street in tents? And they're put into like disused factories, and they're not being properly looked after. Now they get 38.80 a week, and they're rammed in there. There's like, what are they going to do for employment? There's no employment. As Peter said, there's no leisure centre. There's nothing for these people. So they're coming into a country that's kind of in difficulty. We are in difficulty financially.
So would you be of the view that
housing?
Sorry, Kim, I beg your pardon. I genuinely didn't mean to talk over you.
You're doing that a lot.
Well, calm down. Now we're only just starting, Kim.
Just kidding.
No, it's just
well.
getting. I know that. It's just to get to the point. So then, in terms of a national policy, what do you endorse? Is it no more in?
Well, I think control it a bit better. Have sensible immigration. You know, make sure people are totally vetted. And there are people coming in who are vetted. You know, there's doctors coming in, there's nurses coming in, and they have their papers with them and they're properly vetted. But like this thing where they're coming in on planes and they're destroying their passports on the planes, and I have that first-hand knowledge of that from a guy who works in Dublin Airport, and they have to keep clearing the toilets and stuff with the paperwork. Okay. So it's unreal what's going on. Yeah. And it just doesn't seem fair on the Irish people.
We'll come back to you. Yeah. Okay. And don't let me speak over you, Kim. You're a big fella. I think you could take me, right? So don't feel hard done by, right?
We've crossed swords before.
No, I haven't. You've crossed swords with me, not me with you. Come here. Right. Fionan Bradley, what's your view?
No, just to take up from where Kim left off there about people destroying documents and passports and the like. Section 11 of the Immigration Act 2004 already states that it's a criminal offence for anybody to come into this country over the age of 16 without a passport or without valid documentation.
But they still have to be processed, do they not?
Oh, of course. But the point I was going to make...
So my point is there's no jeopardy in destroying your passport on a plane.
No, but if anybody is doing it, it is illegal, and anybody who does do that definitely should have the full rigours of the law applied to them. That's, just to take up on Kim's point there. But you'd asked initially about housing. So myself and my wife got married about 18 months ago, and I know firsthand the struggles of trying to find anywhere to live, because we had searched for quite a while and could find nowhere to either rent or to buy. But there has been progress now, and it is slow, and I think people's frustration comes from the fact that people aren't seeing progress happening quick enough. And as a state, we're not building enough houses. That I would be the first to say that. Because of my lived experience, we just are not building enough private housing, social housing, rental housing. We're just not building it. But progress has been made. In the first quarter of this year, we had 30,128 commencement orders.
Not many in Buncrana, though.
Well, that's a 204% increase nationally. And there were 530 in Donegal. 330 of those commencement orders were in the month of April alone. And there is progress in Buncrana. There is planning.
Should be worth noting, actually, by the way, I don't know how much they skew the figures, but the derelict property grants are actually being included as commencements as well. Which, you know, I think it'll be interesting to see how that's going to look very good for the figures, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's delivering new housing as such.
No, and I have a vested interest in that because the house that I now live in, I applied for and obtained and got the derelict housing grant and was very thankful to get it. And it is a very good grant to be able to apply for, but it has a huge flaw in that you have to pay all of the money up front, which is a huge pressure on young couples like myself and my wife and others our age, because you're saving for a deposit for a house, you're paying your legal fees and your stamp duties and all the other costs associated with buying a home, plus you have to pay this money to have the works carried out up front, you know. So in that sense the scheme must change.
Jack Murray of Sinn Féin, as I say, I'm working around here. You know, we will separate out the defective concrete, but I don't mind it being mentioned, but it's almost separate to really the conversation Kim triggered there about, you know, the concerns in the local communities about large groups of men coming into the area, and then of course to even the government themselves admitting themselves that the amount of people coming into this country is actually going to be double their own estimates. And then there seems to be, and this is why you're here to correct me if I'm wrong, some sort of confusion as to what Sinn Féin's policy actually really is in this regard. So it is a national issue, but it's a very local issue as well.
No, it is, and look, anybody to say that there's not concern in the local community would be lying. Look, there's massive concern about how this has been handled. It's been shambolic. The likes of the lack of consultation, bringing people in at night, has obviously caused concern. There's been no, I suppose, moves to address doctor spaces, school spaces, and that has caused legitimate concerns within the local community. Sinn Féin's position is what we want is an efficient, enforced and fair immigration system. Those that are fleeing war and genuinely fleeing war need
What would you
safety.
do about those coming across the border from Northern Ireland into the Republic?
Well, that's going to have to address that source. So if somebody is applying for asylum, regardless where they've come from, they're going to have to be processed. Like that, and passport or not, they're going to have to be processed. And
in the Republic?
Yeah.
Would you make any attempt to stop them crossing the border?
Well, you try and negotiate with the British government.
That's not going to happen.
It's not. Well, then we're going to have to process
them crossing the border is the success of the Rwanda plan. That's fantastic for them.
And that's going to be done. That's going to be not negotiated in Lifford or in
So is there a plan? No, yes, it isn't. It isn't. But at the end of the day, these are the national, local issues, right? And people would be interested to know what your stance is on something that's so emotive.
Of course,
How does Sinn Féin propose to stop the flow of migrants through the north into the Republic? Let them come and then process them in Dublin.
Sinn Féin's view would have to negotiate with the British government. Whether or not that can be successful is for another day. It's certainly not going to be dealt with in Donegal County Council, but that's where we'd be negotiating. We want to get into government so we can afford
but just the way I see the connection, correct me if I'm wrong, there are local concerns here. They're made representations to local elected representatives. Local elected representatives are part of a greater party or independent, and then they can make those representations to the local tiddy, and you would hope that feeds into government. So just as what I would see is the pathway from a national issue down local and back up the way. Anything else you want to say on that?
No, just on that, there's very limited consultation that happens locally with the council. I would have expressed my concerns on your own radio show a number of times about the way this has been handled. The government, their consultation with Donegal County Council is disrespectful, at least. They normally would send an email if they're identifying a site. They would send an email to member staff in the council, ask is the likes of Buncrana suitable? Does it have enough the likes of doctor spaces, school spaces?
You kept that quiet, Jack. No harm to you, you kept it quiet. You, Rena Donaghy, Nicholas Crossan, and I seen the emails. You knew 2-3 days before
I'll
me,
come back on that.
and then I had to organise at the last minute and stop those single men because you, Jack Murray, did not consult with the people like you're saying you should do now. So you're doing a U-turn.
Kim, you made your point there. So you had the information, you didn't make it available to the public.
Right, I'll just say categorically that is untrue. Now, Kim is very, very loose with the truth. He said some very emotional. No, here,
just
Kim,
one second, Kim, please, and I'll give you a chance
very
to
loose with
reply.
the truth. And to the extent there was protests in the car park, and I've heard there was threatening things said about me because of the information. When Kim was standing there with his megaphone putting out false statements,
I was.
And no, it's a dangerous and volatile path that he had tried to create, and I think that needs to be stood down. It stood down. Right?
Really?
Do you think that maybe, Kim, that some of the the vitriol, the rhetoric might have been a little bit strong, in that it's such an emotive issue that maybe community leaders, I presume you're seen by some as a community leader, there's a responsibility on you in the language.
My
that
responsibility. Look, I have 9 grandchildren who use Walker's Lane. Right, not them all, but they eventually will be. and that is unsafe to put 66 single men in there. And Jack Murray was asked to come out by a person who actually votes him, by a well-known Republican family, and he refused to do so because one person in that group might have said something, I don't know, what he deems as racist or whatever. I'm not loose with the truth. In fact, if people want to message in here and back up what I said, please do so.
Okay,
I'll
Jack,
give you an example.
respond, and then I want to bring others in as well.
There was a very, very dangerous and toxic situation.
Dangerous.
Just if you let him make his point, please.
You're getting yourself excited. Calm down.
I'm not excited.
So I was asked to go meet with people, and I had no problem with meeting residents, concerned residents. I was on the radio highlighting my concerns, giving every bit of information that I could through your own platform. I was asked to come down and share a platform with Kim, which I am not willing to do. Because
Why?
I'll tell you now, if you let me answer, Kim. A number of months before that, Kim had posted a picture of a man in a turban and questioned whether or not he was a paedophile. I felt that was racist in its agenda, and I was not going to stand there with him. The same man has posted on social media saying that this is an attempt to water down the races of Europe. I'm not going to stand and share a platform with somebody who would issue that rhetoric, because I will never ever condone or enhance or put forward any form of a racist
so
agenda.
This is
I'm here to debate you in a controlled environment,
because the votes are going against you. That's why.
We'll see, and we'll see in the same degree.
Okay, listen, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that.
Can I reply to that?
I thought he was replying to you, but briefly, I want to let everyone have a fair crack.
Okay, so Jack is backtracking. Sinn Féin are backtracking. They're U-turning, flip-flopping. No one knows where they stand anymore.
Okay.
So how can anyone take anything serious that he says when I know for a fact that he said he wouldn't turn it because there was one or two people in the crowd? My God, like really, is that what you're basing your bias against me on?
Yeah, but we're all living in this.
Unreal.
Just to be clear again, no, I said I wasn't share a platform with Kim and endorse.
I think what he references maybe the replacement theory and the implication of someone might be a paedophile.
It's an attempt to water down the races of Europe, as you've posted on
I believe the Irish people are being pushed aside and they're not being looked after.
Do you think there's
That's what I believe.
Kim, do you believe there is a replacement agenda?
I believe that there is an agenda to bring in as many people into this country as they can, for whatever reason they believe. No, I don't believe it's right, because I believe, look, you fix our own problems at home first before you influx.
Right, okay. Well, listen, we can get into that a little bit more. I just want to make sure everyone gets a say too. And Liam Mulligan of the Aontu party, failure in housing migration is on your list as well of concerns. So it's a topic that we can't nor should we escape from.
You can't escape from it, but there has been an attempt by the bulk of the main parties to escape from it up until Peadar dragged the information after multiple attempts to force the bureaucrats to give us the information of the numbers of people that were coming in and destroying their passports, the numbers of people that were coming across the border, the numbers of people that were not being deported. This was not an acceptable topic of conversation among our media, and I think we were talking about the problems locally, but we weren't talking about why they were happening. And before Easter, an anonymous government spokesman effectively charged Peadar Tóibín with racism, with effectively what Helen McEntee started to talk about 3 weeks after Easter. You know, this is the problem, that they've been unwilling to discuss it. And we need to discuss real problems, all the problems. We had the fantasy carry on in the referendums, and the people, especially the people of Donegal, went with facts and common sense, and people were delivering us nonsense. We have to talk about this issue, and we have to talk about other real issues that are affecting people. Ireland shouldn't be full, but it has the feel and the look of being full.
Do you mean in terms of numbers or services? Because, you know, if you go back to 1841, we have half the population in Donegal that we had then. So just when we talk about being full, I presume you're not actually talking about, you know, persons per square kilometre.
No, obviously not. But do you want people living out on 10 acres of Glenveigh land, out on the empty valley, out there. That's when we had 8 million in the country. It's a silly comparison. At the same time, as an industrial country, we had have the potential to have more. But how we approach
just
it...
one thing, I don't want to be defensive here. It's a silly... we had houses for 8 million people. We had...
we didn't.
Were they living in tents? Or?
They were living in bothies. They were living in shacks thrown over holes in the ground in many cases. Yeah. Even up to the 1870s and the 1880s, you can actually get pictures, photographs of the type of
so 4 million odd people were living in that type of accommodation.
Yeah, well, I mean, not 4 million odd, but a proportion of the population.
So, of course, as much as a proportion of the population is now living in tents and on other people's couches and stuff. So what... Just to clarify, when you say it's full, it is services and resources?
We need services and resources and houses. And we should have had the houses if we hadn't had a badly managed boom and a badly managed bust. We should have had the houses. No one is addressing. There was an admission actually in the Irish Times yesterday. The affordable housing, we need to actually cut the cost of building a house, not more subsidies. And there was effectively an admission that nobody in the industry or in finance has any interest in cutting the cost of building a house. And that is the sort of structural change we need. We need to resource, and we will find this again and again in other subjects, the failure to resource the jobs that the government has to do. I know for a fact from the refugee applications over 20 years ago that there was a recognition of a need for more resources to process people quickly. The provision, direct provision, is not a problem if people are only in direct provision for 3 months and then are either let in on the basis that they have a valid case or immediately deported on the basis that they don't have a valid case.
And as well, I'll come back to you in relation to that. Again, Eamonn McGee, independent, one of the issues of great concern to you, and you referenced it in your introduction, is the impact of immigration, fear. People are scared, you say?
Well,
move forward just a little for me, Eamon, sorry.
Well, the influx of refugees have certainly put a huge pressure on our services that we're already at breaking point, such as social housing. Like, we must genuinely help the genuine refugee, but our asylum system is basically being abused. We all know that. The issue of single men and busloads being shipped into communities and temporary accommodation late at night, especially those who are undocumented, must be stopped. This is certainly causing our communities great distress and worry. That's a fact. Now, the immigration laws in Ireland must be overhauled and tightened so that our communities can once again feel safe. I hope we all agree on that. The burden put on our services, such as health, mental health, education, local government and more, is severely impacting on social services. All the services are all at breaking point. We all have to agree at that. So what can we do to be treated equally? We're at the back of the pile of everything. It's not fair. It's not fair. Treat us equally. I'm not a politician. I'm standing because I'm a window cleaner. I hear the problems. I hear people carrying people that have disabilities, carrying their teenage kids up and down the stairs, but we can't afford to give them a wet room and a bedroom down the bottom of the house because they can't afford it. There's only a grant for 30,000 while people are being for 60. We have other things like people being at the back of the line again.
And Eamon,
severe.
Do you mind if I put it to you, Eamon, that and by the way, I'm just trying to tease out conversations here, not push any agenda or particular point of view. But let's say, for instance, we're told we're a very wealthy country, massive surplus. We're told we're at full employment. Okay, we shouldn't have a situation where children aren't getting the supports that they need. That we don't have wet rooms, as you talk of, the real life stories that we all know, right?
Yes,
but none of these problems would necessarily go away if we took less people in, if you know what I mean. Is it not about how resources are spent? And it should be the government going after not refugees?
It's the way our government is spending the money. They're not putting Irish people first. We've got people that has got severe autism they have to wait 2 years for an appointment because, look, immigration coming in, they can't speak English, so they're getting it before our children. Now, not only that leaves our children 2 years, going behind where they really need it right away. Even in Buncrana, they advertised for a speech therapist. They couldn't take the job up because there was no accommodation. This is the reality. This is facts. Because there was no accommodation available. There needs to be more done for the local people. And at the minute, every service that we are left behind. Look, we only have to look at old people. Where are people going to go? We closed down our old people's homes during the last recession. All of a sudden, we find the money. We can fill them up with immigrants. We know nothing about them. There's only a certain amount of immigrants that we can take on to our country, our country. Let's be fair.
Okay.
We've got to look after our own people first. And if we have money, which I believe that, I don't know where the money's coming from. As you says, we have
corporation tax, really, if the truth be told.
And not only that, we have 159,000 people and around that amount that is receiving social welfare. The age group is males between 18 and 44. Now, why do we need inward migration? We don't need it. We have people in Ireland can do the jobs that nobody wants. We just have to change the way and encourage families to give better deals for families to encourage them to go back to work.
I get you.
Or single people.
Well, many of those people could be carers or have a disability, but I take your point. Peter McLaughlin, of Fine Gael. We'll just stick on this issue if you like, because then we have to take a break. We might have a quick round up on that before 11 and try and get through some other stuff as well. But the concerns you've heard from many of, I guess, everyone accepts the concerns are there. Obviously, some people use different language to sort of express their feelings about it.
Yeah, well, I would accept them that those problems are there. It's nearly like the perfect storm. And then Sean, we've got Micah, which means there's no houses. Houses are collapsing and they're looking for houses and they can't get access to them. In relation to jobs, people looking for jobs, or they won't come here because they can't get a house or get accommodation. And what can be done? The funny thing about it is, not 35 kilometres from here, there's a development. They're talking about over 3,000 houses being built just over the border. And I was talking to a young man 2 days ago. He's working, his wife's self-employed, and he's going to the bank and he's looking for funding for a self-build and he can't get it. There's something wrong. The banks are just as culpable as everybody else. The access to funding in order to build houses is a massive problem as well, and that's something that has to be addressed.
Yeah, those rules though were brought in though because the banks were over-lending, and you've seen the mess that got us into.
Yes, those rules, and you just quoted a figure there, how well this country was. We were told how well this country was doing before the recession. There's no problem. We're going to have a soft landing. It'll be a soft recession. And what happened? The country was decimated, was destroyed.
Would you like to see your party doing more to address the issues that because everyone around the table here can sort of point to some solutions, but we don't really, some might say, see that action on a national level?
Well,
why not?
Of course, I would like to see Fine Gael doing more for it, but it's not just an Irish problem; it's in England as well. And when you talk about immigration, it's maybe the incentives to come. They were trying to they wanted to get to England. Now there's a threat, so the Rwanda issue. So now they're looking to come to Ireland because there's still the same incentives, and there's no issue in relation to destroy a passport. That's about it.
Okay, we're going to take a break. Sorry, finish your point there.
I say if you're going into a country and your passport is damaged or destroyed. The airline is responsible for taking you back. The airline is fined if they don't take you back.
Well, there's talk of toughening up those laws. I just want to give you another minute, if you want it, Fionan, because your time was a little less than everybody else's. If there's anything you want to add on that issue.
Yeah, well, on the immigration issue particularly, it is greatly mentioned at the doors when you're out canvassing. But
is it the number one?
It would be hard to say it's the number one. It's one of a number of big issues, along with housing and defective concrete blocks. But where it's different, I think, to the other issues is it's become very, very heated and very toxic. And I don't think anybody serves to gain from that. I think we do all need to work together, all of the councillors that are elected, to do what little, by the way, they will be able to do about immigration. And the government and the opposition, we do all have to work together to try and get a handle on this issue, because because we are living in unprecedented times. We have war in Gaza and Israel, we have war in Ukraine, and in the course of the immigration part of this debate, nobody has mentioned climate immigrants. And with climate change and one thing and another, there's a strong chance that millions of people are going to be displaced from their homes in the next number of decades in that. But just to pick up on the health issue, finally, we talk about health and we talk about immigrants being a strain on the health service. If you walk into Letterkenny Hospital, to use an example, there's a strong chance that quite a number of the staff...
We're close on 50% across the health service. Well,
I'm glad you said that, because my wife had our first baby back in November, and I can definitely say at least half of the staff that we encountered in the maternity ward were immigrants.
Okay, well, listen, I know others want to come back to this, but I do have to pay the electricity bills. So we'll be back with more after these.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off on all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
House to Home Bridgend, Donegal. Our modest front door opens onto 2 floors of Irish-made furniture, suites, beds, mattresses, dining and occasional furniture. Step into our showroom and see how we can transform your house into a home. House to Home furniture, flooring, slide robes and interiors, Bridgend, Donegal.
Be a winner and view the trophy collection at Brian McCormick Sports. Full colour awards, glass and crystal, perpetual cups and shields, sports awards, metal cups and medals. Whatever the occasion, click bmcsports.ie. Budget medals for sports days with personalised inserts to promote your club and school. Full engraving service available at Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Spring has arrived and it's time to book a dream break at McGrory's Hotel Kildaff, where we're celebrating 100 years of Irish welcomes. Discover our beautiful bedrooms, relax in our bar, or explore the gorgeous Donegal countryside and nearby beach, with fantastic packages for all. Book now at mcgrorys.ie, quoting Highland Radio.
Chasing that final ray of sunlight to the end of the garden, squeezing every drop out of your tea bag, scraping the last bit of that really nice face cream. In Ireland, we love getting the most out of everything, so why aren't we doing the same with our money? By moving to an AIB savings account today, you'll get more from your money by earning interest. Visit aib.ie/savings to explore your options. AIB, for the life you're after. Terms and conditions apply. Allied Irish Banks PLC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Join us this Friday, May 24th from 12 noon for the grand opening of the newly revamped Moores XL shop in Dunfanny. You're invited to come along and explore the new store and enjoy tasty treats from the new deli. There's also spot prizes and live music from Chelsea Evans. That's this Friday. John Breslin and around the Northwest, live from the all-new Moores XL shop in Dunfanny. See you there.
Choosing to have a chicken fillet roll is easy. The hard part is butter or mayo, plain or spicy, coleslaw or cheese, coleslaw and cheese. Shop smart, feel good with Centra's meal deal. Get a chicken fillet roll with 2 fillings, select soft drinks and a small potato, all for just $7.50 plus DRS deposit. Centra. Live every day.
Raymond Sweeney here to introduce you to heat pump tumble dryers. With these dryers you can save up to 50% on energy use, enjoy softer clothes, and thanks to advanced sensor drying technology, you will have wrinkle-free laundry every time. Upgrade your drying experience today with a heat pump tumble dryer, now available at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, or the shopping centre Dunlow.
Sale, sale, sale now on. Aontu, Donegal Town, proudly serving Donegal for over 30 years as your main Kia and Opel dealer, are launching our massive 241 demo sale. Save thousands across our entire range of quality cars, vans and EVs. Aontu's highly experienced sales team are here to assist you every step of the way. Drive with confidence. Drive with Aontu. Visit our showroom on the Killybegs Road, Donegal Town today.
Are you building, rebuilding or renovating? What heat pumps or solar panels would suit your build? Come along and speak to the experts, Efficient Renewables on heat pumps and solar panels. Get advice on installation and grants available. Visit the Efficient Renewables showroom in Newton Cunningham and see these products in operation for yourself.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. With over 50 years of serving the community in Donegal, McElhinney's is proud to be part of every moment, big and small. Support local, shop McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
OK, we're being told that it's going to be mostly cloudy, misty and dry this morning. Occasional bright spells. Showers will develop by afternoon, turning heavy in places with thunderstorms and hail possible. You are tuned to our local election debates. We have in studio with us, and by the way, if there was any apathy about the elections, things have certainly brightened up over the last couple of days. A huge amount of you texting in, listening in and watching our stream online. Our guests today are Fionan Bradley, Jack Murray, Liam Mulligan, Mulligan, I beg your pardon, Kim McMenamin, Eamonn McGee, Peter McLaughlin. We have a full hour with our guests on the race, so stay right where you are. I'm sure a couple chomping at the bit to get in, but we do have to take a short break for the news, so bear with me. I just kind of messed up the brakes a little bit there, so we do have to take a quick break for the news. Keep your texts and comments coming into us, by the way, on 086 60 25,000 WhatsApp and text. So the last hour of the show completely dedicated to our panel of candidates. They are seeking your vote to take one of the 5 seats in the Buncrana area. Back after the news at 11.
Single-use plastics must be avoided. They're bad for the environment and bad for your health. If you're offered plastic cutlery, plates, stirrers or straws...
No, thanks.
Polystyrene food and drinks containers...
No, thanks.
Plastic cotton buds or balloon rods...
No, thanks.
If you're a retailer, takeaway or party shop, these single-use plastics are banned. Refuse to buy them from your supplier. Visit mywaste.ie to find out more. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland and mywaste.ie.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with our bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the North West, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Thursday 9am till 5pm with late night openings Fridays until 7. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725 822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
Testing. Do you need to get your hearing tested? Test your hearing with a free sample hearing aid from Hidden Hearing. Order your free sample hearing aid today. Call 1-800-370-000 or visit hiddenhearing.ie.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Get ready for the event of the year. It's the brand new 242 event at iMotors Drumkeen. Join us until May 26th as we showcase the latest models from Kia and Nissan. We're serving up treats, gourmet burgers and lots more to make your visit extra special. Now is your chance to explore our new range at iMotors Drumkeen, your trusted Kia and Nissan dealership in the Northwest.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Never has the need for reliable, trustworthy journalism been greater. If you are a journalism or media student who is about to graduate and are looking to kickstart your career in news or sports, the Learning Waves Journalism Graduate Programme is for you. Learning Waves, along with Commission Oman and Skillnet Ireland, are offering 10 graduates the opportunity to work in one of Ireland's independent radio stations for a period of 5 months from September 2024. You will work alongside the news and sports editor in the station to learn real workplace skills and judgment and to get your voice heard. heard. You will also undertake a tailored training programme devised by Learning Waves. So if you want to progress your journalism career, apply online now at learningwaves.ie. Closing date May 24th.
Good morning, it's 11 o'clock. The headlines on Highland with Donal Kavanagh. Gardaí in Buncrana have renewed their call to anyone with dashcam footage or information relating to Sunday morning's fatal traffic incident at Buncrana Pier to come forward. Meanwhile, Gardaí investigating an incident at Upper Main Street, Donegal town on Wednesday afternoon last are also appealing for information. Just before 5 to 2, a collision occurred between a car and a pedestrian. The pedestrian, a child, was taken to Letterkenny University Hospital to receive medical treatment. Their injuries aren't life-threatening. Gardaí investigating an assault that happened on Upper Main Street in Letterkenny in the early hours of last Sunday. A man was standing chatting to friends on the street between 10 past and 3:15 when he was approached by an unknown man who had come running down the street. The victim received a blow to the face and was knocked to the ground. Gardaí are urging anyone who may have witnessed the incident to make contact with them in Letterkenny. The Taoiseach says the government is committed to the delivery of more homes. Simon Harris's comments come as the Housing Commission estimates the underlying housing deficit in the country to be up to 256,000 homes. The body is calling for emergency action to address the issue. Taoiseach Simon Harris says government will continue to make progress in the delivery of housing across the country. Another tent clearance is underway along the Grand Canal in Dublin. Asylum seekers had pitched over 100 tents there in recent days. The operation to remove tents between McCartney Bridge and Leeson Street Bridge along the Grand Canal got underway at around 9 this morning. It's the third coordinated clearance after tents were previously removed from another area of the canal and from around the International Protection Office in Mount Street over the course of the past number of weeks. And Gardaí are investigating criminal damage incidents in Lifford and Ballybofey in the early hours of last Wednesday. A car caught fire in the driveway of a house in Coolitee, Lifford. It was noticed just after midnight by the residents. Gardaí say it may have been started deliberately. Meanwhile, in Ballybofey at 20 to midnight on Sunday last, the sitting room window of a house in Blue Cedars was smashed. Gardaí seeking information about sightings of a lone male in the area, either on foot or on a bike. Meanwhile, shortly after midnight the same night, significant damage was caused to a car and the sitting room window was smashed at a house in Glenpatrick Park in Ballybofey. Gardaí in Letterkenny coordinating the investigations of all those three incidents. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with headlines again at 12 noon, but for now, from the news team, good morning.
Ready to feast your ears on the sizzle of success? Ireland's most awarded, specially selected steak range from Aldi. 100% Irish board beef, quality assured. Strip loin for $2 for just $9.99. Or how about dry aged Black Angus ribeye? The best ribeye in Ireland. 2 for just $13.99. Sounds good. Tastes even better. Go all Aldi. While stocks last.
Thank you so much for all the comments coming in so far today. We will try and get through them. A lot of the candidates receiving support. We are debating amongst 6 candidates contesting the Buncrana electoral area. There are 5 seats available. In studio we have Fionan Bradley of Fianna Fáil, Jack Murray of Sinn Féin, Liam Mulligan of Aontu, Kim McMenamin, the Irish People Party / Independent, Eamonn McGee's an Independent, Peter McLaughlin, Fine Gael, and I suppose just to wrap up, because I don't want anyone to feel that they didn't get the say on this issue before we talk about many other things, including the very important issue of defective concrete and its impact primarily initially in Inishowen, and then it's sort of spread from there. That's how it feels anyway in terms of awareness. We'll get to that in a moment. But Jack, just in relation to the immigration, a few texts saying that, you know, that you're not really articulating or where you stand on all of this. A lot of your contribution was obviously engaging with Kim. So I just want it to be fair. Yeah. You know, where do you stand? Where does your party stand? What is your position?
No, as I've said, it's caused genuine fear and concern in my local community, and I have nothing but empathy for that. And like, it is an issue in the doors coming up all the time. My party's position is very clear that we need a fair, efficient and enforced immigration system. Those people who are fleeing war and need safety should be accommodated. Those people who are trying to exploit our system and are not genuine refugees or asylum seekers should be deported as efficiently and as quickly as possible.
Kim, your view doesn't vary that much from Councillor Murray's.
Well, look,
if we're addressing this issue, it's good to address that the people who can't get housing, like the people who are at home right now, and say teenagers ready to jump the nest, and now they're in their bedroom, and the only choice they have is stay in the bedroom or immigrate to Australia. Now that has to be addressed. So there's actually 13,000 people homeless in Ireland, but that figure is there's actually 250,000 homeless people who can't get a home. So you don't have to be living on the street to be homeless. 250,000 on the street, 250,000 in houses that can't get on the housing ladder, rental or anything.
So delivery of housing is important.
So remember, parents. How are parents going to cope with that? You know, like it comes a time when you got to leave your home and you got to try and raise a family. And they can't do it, because they're stuck. They're stuck there because the housing crisis is massive. They're stuck there. So our best people are going abroad. They have to go. They have no choice. It's the airport or the bedroom. So for people at home right now, and there's many there, this is impacting you in every locality. It doesn't matter what part of Ireland you're in or what town or village you're in. It's impacting you big time. And then you've lost your family. The family's broken up, and it is a massive problem that needs to be addressed.
And I mean, Kim, that's a well articulated argument that I think an awful lot of people it will resonate with, and I think many people here will agree with you, and we'll hear from them. But do you always link that, or it sounds like you do, and you're here to correct me if I'm wrong, to migration? Migration contributes to that, but surely that's sort of generations of poor planning in terms of providing the right housing for the people you talk of. Because as I say, we know of the grouped accommodation, and that accommodation you talk of the 66 males, but that's not accommodation for all those young people that you reference either. So there is a general housing delivery issue, would you feel?
Well, like if it's impacting tourism by 50%, people can't get like accommodation to come and service our tourism industry. That's I know that's a sideline, but like everything is gone. There is no houses. There is no social housing. There is so how come they can house all these migrants? Like, are you saying all the migrants are warehoused?
No, I'm just putting it to you. I'm not saying anything.
I don't know the percentages, but I'll look into it. How many actually have got houses from the state? I don't know those figures unless anyone else knows. But
it's hard to separate the serviced accommodation from hotels and housing.
But these people are on the housing list now. They're waiting to get a house, and will they be housed before the Irish? Like, should the Irish abroad in Australia not be still on the housing list and given the opportunity to come home and get a house?
Eamonn McGee, you're also concerned about this issue. I'll come to you in a second. I want to actually go to Liam Mulligan, because you specifically referenced referenced immigration as well, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, immigration is a big issue. We're losing staff out of the hospital on two levels. One, there's not enough people employed, so that it becomes a disastrous working conditions for the people in the hospitals, and they get all of these offers from Australia. They can't get accommodation. They have bad working conditions. Someone said something like that the rotation of handling people coming into A&E in Australia is every 4 patients they move around. Here, it's something like every 100 patients they move around to the next nurse. Things like that. And then they can't get accommodation because we haven't been building houses, and we haven't been building houses people afford. And you yourself have had reports in here, not of people being warehoused in big sections like that place in Buncrana, but people actually 20 and 30 people being put into a 4 or 5 bedroom house. So that's taking it out of the housing market, and it is inappropriate. You wouldn't be allowed by the Residential Tenancies Board put that many people into that house or into that type of house. So I'd say there's a lot more issues that we have to get through. But immigration the migration thing has become a huge extra burden in the whole element of not building our houses right, of the defective blocks, so that in Donegal, and especially in Inishowen, we have absolute ground zero on accommodation and housing and migration and every one of these things coming together. And they go back to not sorting problems, not getting resources in at the right time before we hit the crisis, and then trying to handle crises the same way as we've not handled the normal things before.
So, Peter, I mean, obviously, I'll come to you in a second, Jack. Peter McLaughlin, you could have run for any party, you could have run as an independent. You chose to run for Fine Gael. I mean, we have a scenario that's being outlined here that, we have people leaving the country for better lives and being very valued in Australia, Canada, America, Dubai, etc. And they can't. The option to stay here, they feel, isn't there for them. I mean, did that make you consider whether or not you should run for a party that's been in power for much of the time that sort of, as some would see it, led to the scenario that we're in?
Well, I was really focusing on local. I was focusing on the Inishowen area when I considered to stand, given my experience. But in relation to the houses...
But many people that are looking to vote for you have the children in the bedroom, have the children that have left. They've had those conversations where they say, Mom, Dad, there's nothing for me here, I'm leaving. So it is a Buncrana issue.
It is a Buncrana issue, and I was speaking to a mother last night, and her son's leaving, and there's very little that can be done about it. The provision of houses is important, but back to what I said, the cost of building houses after COVID, the cost went through the roof, but it doesn't seem to have come back down again. It doesn't seem to have come to a level where people can afford, but still is back to the council.
Well, of course, if you can get €1,400 to rent for renting a house in Donegal, the prices are going to be through the roof.
Yeah, that's
one of the drivers, isn't it?
That is one of the drivers.
It becomes a more valuable asset.
But one of the drivers is the defective blocks issue, because people are they have to move out of the house. That's the driver. The cost of building houses, that's the driver. But as I said about the development of 3,000 houses just across the border. Why can't we build? Why can't we afford to build these houses? Will you tell us? Here? Well, I don't really understand. That's the cost of building houses.
We're squabbling with developers to deliver housing that's there. They want a certain price. We won't pay it. They're saying, right, well, we'll invest our money elsewhere.
Then you've the planning issues as well. Right. You have to go through the planning issues.
Again, I'll put it to you.
Which is an obstacle.
I'll put it to you, Fionan. This is happening as some would see it, not my views, as some would see it on your party's watch, Yeah, you can't be a councillor for observation. People want to see what you'll do to make a difference.
No, absolutely. And I might say that the people who are leaving are people of my generation, the 25 to 30 year olds, and even maybe as young as 20 and whatever. But specifically in relation to housing, this particular campaign and this period of canvassing has shown me something that I'm sure it's shown all the other candidates around the table, and it's the number of vacant homes. Like, we talk about a housing crisis and that we don't have enough homes. I'm not entirely sure that is completely and totally true.
When you say a vacant home, describe it? What are we talking about?
A house that isn't lived in, say for
it's livable.
Oh yeah. Say a person lives in a house, and the house behind them or next to them maybe belonged to their parents or to a relative who has now deceased or else moved elsewhere or whatever. So I would like to see more work put into trying to get a huge number of houses like that brought back into the market. It's even when you go into a housing estate or into a street, and particularly maybe in the town centres, you'll get somebody and they'll say, oh, there's nobody in that house and there's nobody in the house across the way. I canvassed a particular area in Buncrana only yesterday evening, and a quarter of the houses in the street were vacant, but they're all livable. They would all need an amount of work done to them, I'm sure, inside to fix them up and whatever, but they're in livable condition.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Jack. I haven't forgotten that you want to come in. I just want to be fair to everyone. Eamon, just a word on this one.
Personally, for myself, I believe, the best way forward, even the house people with defective homes or council owns private property, they own property. We could put modular homes on for the families. Use the 15,000 that the families are getting from the enhanced scheme grant now, and put the family on until their house is rebuilt, and keep taking the 15,000 each way through. So this will pay for the modular homes down the line. This is the best way forward for anybody. We all heard the stories about Frank that couldn't get the accommodation. There's going to be many families that's going to be through the same procedure. There is no property out there for rent, and if there are, it's very little. Look, we've got to help these people. I don't believe in an enhanced scheme myself because I'll not be involved in it. But this is what needs to be done for our young couples and our young families to encourage them to stay here. I believe in the same again that we need to provide modular homes for our families to start having babies. It's very important for our nation. And if we can help them in any way, you know, personally myself, I believe that, you know, we should be giving young families state-funded modular homes for 3 years for free to allow them to save up for maybe £30,000 for a deposit for a house or provide social housing for them. I think this is the only way to go forward on this because there's no other way to go.
Jack, you wanted to come back in there, did you?
Yeah, I was only indicating actually to come on to housing because it's a huge issue.
Shall we go to defective concrete and feed into it from there? Are you happy enough? I mean, the situation we are in at the moment, some will tell you that the scheme that's there at the moment, the enhanced scheme in inverted commas, that it is workable. It is working for some people, not for all. It can be adapted to work for the majority of people. That's not necessarily what people contacting this show say, but that's what some say. Your party really effectively has promised a bells and whistles sort of a scheme where everything would be covered, similar to the much smaller scheme as it relates to pyrite down in and around Dublin. But driving through Inishowen, and not just Inishowen, Milford, Carragart, Downings, these houses are scattered absolutely everywhere. It's horrendous. Do you think your party will deliver on their promises? Because they're grand promises.
Yeah, they are. I believe we're the only party that has both the capability and the willingness to address this problem and to deliver 100% redress. I was at the launch of the People's Document. Pierce Doherty and Paddy McLaughlin clearly articulated our point of view, our strategy and how we would do it to a packed room of over 1,000 people. So that would tell you that there's a massive problem, that the scheme isn't as accessible as is being said, that there's such a huge concern. So our commitment is an end-to-end 100% redress scheme, like the pyrite scheme that was rolled out in North Leinster. We'd reconstitute the Pyrite Remediation Board in order to do that. So that's why we are working to get.
When do you think that would be delivered post-election?
Well, as Pierce Doherty was asked that question when we were there, and immediately we're ready to go. So when we give a commitment, or when I give a commitment sitting here, I'm just not saying I'll have a word with Mary Lou McDonald or I'll talk to my party at the national level. I'm saying that it's been approved at Ardèche by a motion moved by the Buncrana Sinn Féin Commons. So you have the support of Mary Lou McDonald, Pierce Doherty, who's going to be Minister for Finance, Owen O'Brien, who's going to be Minister for Housing, and through every single councillor and member of our party, it is an absolute 100% commitment, and it's achievable because it's not pie in the sky stuff. This has been rolled through the Department of Finance. We've done the number crunching on what we believe we can commit. And
it was claimed yesterday that this wasn't in Sinn Féin's manifesto, the last election manifesto. I mean, if the party was so serious about it, should it not have been part of that manifesto?
Sinn Féin is absolutely crystal clear on this. And we are. There's no ambiguity on this. This is one, and I have to say, Sinn Féin's the only show in town when it comes to this issue. Well, we will bring a change of government. We want to lead the next government, and we'll have members of government living in our communities who are affected by this, whose relatives are affected.
There would be
by
no
this.
upward cap. So if someone had €1 million property.
Yeah, we've said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring everyone in. I'm just going to hop back to Eamonn, if that's okay, because Eamonn, you're going down a different route, okay? You're going down the 16 families seeking a judicial review. Yes. So does that mean that you are waiting to see what Sinn Féin might do, and this is another iron in the fire, or do you have no confidence that they might deliver?
Sinn Féin could have done something. Look, Peter Doherty, Pádraig McLaughlin could have took a judicial review for the homeowners of Donegal, but they choose not to. Look, bottom line, the homeowners have been deceived with everybody. The only way forward for us, really, is to take a judicial review and through the courts. There's a good chance we could lose this, but at least in that we will have a direction to go into the European courts. The European law is more superior than Irish law. The products, the concrete that we were sold, are not fit under European standards. This is the only way that we will get compensation, and no matter what anybody tells you, if people were genuine going to help the people, we all know it's not Mecca. So come on.
I think people use. People use the word mica just because it it's a catch-all. I think everyone knows it's
reactive iron sulfate minerals.
But RTE or other stations will use mica, and the way I'd look at it is
deceived.
At least they're talking about
the
it.
The desktop study.
Okay, but do you understand why people use the language? Do you understand why, like, it's people call a vacuum cleaner a Hoover? Yeah. That's the way I'd see the word mica being used.
At the end of the day, no person should be buying a house a second time. And the people that I've met, when I'm canvassing, they don't have the money even onto the enhanced scheme. We have to give these people an opportunity.
Okay.
And that's what we're bringing forward. We've got our own homes to rebuild. This is, people say this is the only show in town. The only show in town is 16 homeowners is going to take this right through to the European courts, and this is the only place that we're going to get justice for the people.
Yeah, I think a lot of homeowners would say whatever works, we'll go with it.
All the homeowners want is their homes rebuilt.
Exactly. Kim McMenamin, what is your stance? Are you for 100% redress?
Can I just finish a point that he made earlier? He mentioned rape and crime, and you said you can't say that.
He says there was a 1,000% increase.
I was on the figure, yeah.
1,000% increase.
Just on that, Ireland does not racially profile the criminals. They don't.
That's
Spain
why,
does.
Of course, that's why
Norway does.
It was just a claim
Sweden
of It was a claim of 1,000% increase.
Yeah, but it's very hard to get statistics on crime.
Exactly.
And what is a statistic of crimes among immigrants who come into this country? Yeah. So we can't, because there's this woke agenda where you cannot racially profile, anyone. And that's. But it should be racially profiled them so we can actually see who's doing what and is.
Well, I can forward on a document to you, where it is for the last 4 years. It's a list of convictions for rape and murder, and you can see. I mean, it's not fine, and maybe it's even a little bit racist, but you can see very clearly from the names and get some sort and their address and get some sort of an indication as where they're from. But I take your point, and I don't disagree with you, right? But it was just in relation to saying rapes have increased to 1,000. We don't have that statistic, regardless of who's responsible for them.
On one point that Fionan made was about the hospital workers, and that there's a lot of foreign workers there, and they're probably vetted and all that there or whatever. We don't know. Again,
well, they have to be to work with patients.
They have to be. Okay. So
same as the guards.
Why?
Or bus drivers
Why do we need this massive amount of foreign workers? Why? Because our own people, our own workers, have been pushed out of the country. That is why we've now got to use the foreign worker, not because we need or we've this lack of workers. It's because our young people are being pushed out because of housing.
But just in relation
so the housing
to that,
affects the hospital.
Yeah, but just in relation to that, so the hundreds of thousands of Irish that are working in America, Australia, and Dubai, do you believe they're displacing local workers as well?
That's a good question.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
That's a good question. No, I think those other countries are really needing employment. Where we have our employment rates aren't really we don't have massive. We don't have any manufacturing base. We have farming and fishing, and that's been destroyed by the EU. So we don't have that base. So
Fionan wants to come back in. Yeah,
we have full employment. You see, I love talking about the facts. We have full employment, and I, in the course of a canvassing conversation a number of weeks ago, was talking to a person who owns a business in the hospitality sector, and they said they had advertised 5 jobs on 3 occasions. I think possibly
it'd be interesting to see what the wage was,
and on the in the local media and the local newspapers and that, and they didn't get one single application for any one of the 5 jobs.
Why?
No, but
why? Because our people are being pushed out because they can't get a house.
No,
that's why.
No, but
that's why. You tell me why then.
I don't accept that, Greg, at all.
No, you tell.
Kim,
you tell me then why.
But to go back to the point about crime and talking about rapes and murders and whatever, that was the point I was making originally, Greg, about the discourse and the discussion around this issue of immigration. It has become very, very heated and very toxic, and I really don't see who that.
Garda Síochána would say. Now, you see, you can dispute what Garda Síochána say, right? But as I say, I'll just try and base it on facts, and then we can say, well, I wouldn't believe that or whatever. But Garda Síochána say that there is no statistical increase in crime beyond,
because they don't racially profile. They don't racially profile criminal activity. They don't. And that's why there's no stats.
If I
there's
just
no
might
stats
finish my
because,
point.
well, let me finish mine first. There's no stats.
Fionan, come on. It's all right. It's all right. We'll get you back in.
If I just might finish my point. Like at the end of the day, the immigrants that we talk about, I think it's very, very easy to dehumanize these people. These are actual human beings. Now, I don't know what any of them have come through, but I do know that they're here in our country now. They may have a contribution to make. They may not. I don't know.
It's very important, by the way.
I might just say, in the course of my professional life, I'm a teacher by trade. I can say that I have actually encountered a number in the recent past of these immigrants, the children of them. And I can honestly say that they're no different to any Irish child, to any white child. They're as polite. No, but that's the point.
Of course they're not.
But Greg, you listen to discourse then from some commentators and from some candidates, and all you hear about is crime and rape and murder, and it paints a picture that they are very different.
Yeah.
And again,
maybe that you see the problem is you see who's countering that. You know, where is that information coming from the state? Where is that? You know, it is.
There's no stats.
And I mean,
there's no.
I accept, Greg, that there is fear in our community at the minute. I talked to a woman only last night who said that she hasn't visited Swan Park since it reopened out of fear. You know, and that's.
I mean, Jack Murray, you're nodding your head. That's insanity. That's no way for people to live their lives.
No, and some of that fear, sorry, Jack, I might say, is unfounded. Some of it is unfounded, and it's stoked by tension. And I think the discourse and the debate has to become more humanised and more polite again. And
I think with that, and listen, but I think it is only now, not on our programme, because we've discussed this right from the get-go, that actually maybe those people that are afraid have a voice. Because before, if they spoke, they were described as far right or racist. And as I say, we never entertained that on the 9 till noon show. But that's why people.
That's my question.
Well, they weren't able to speak out. Now,
just one thing, I agree totally what he said. Yes, these are beautiful people, and they're welcome. But the government has gone rogue on immigration. That is where the blame firmly lies with the government and the policy. McEntee was supposed to deport 1,000 people in a 2-year period, and she didn't. She
Less
failed.
than 10.
The failure is with government,
Less than 10.
not with people.
And
I
also
agree with you.
And also too, we were relying on people to voluntarily leave, and of course they didn't. I want everyone to feel they're getting a say here, by the way. I know some people are more inclined to jump in than not. I'm one of those. But I certainly want you, Peter, you, Eamon, and you, Liam, to feel that you're so pleased. I don't want anyone leaving here feeling they didn't get a say. So come on,
just one thing I
Eamon,
just
talk
want to
me.
say, look, I just don't have the figures. I know nothing about it. Your government, Fianna Fáil or whatever, what is the percentage of people coming into the HSE as doctors and nurses coming through agencies?
I have no idea. I don't have the figures to have.
Does these people come in and get 1.5 times more than our local people?
Again, I don't know.
There are actually figures on that, and we can possibly dig them out in terms of the financial spend on agency staff. The same could be said of
and
the money we spend on
does the
taxis.
reference be checked?
How do you mean?
Qualifications, records be checked. You know, the qualifications.
There has been one quite high-profile case where arguably they weren't right. Okay,
several.
Yeah, one run recently.
Just on canvassing, you know, in around the Buncrana area, I've been canvassing, and I find the people are, well, they're receptive to some of the immigrants coming in. It's the concern that they feel that they're not getting, that we are getting more than the rest. Buncrana or Donegal, 51% of the tourism beds are taken up by refugees, and 16% I think is in Kildare. So there's no, it seems, throw them up to Donegal. It's that back to Donegal. If it's no good, they'll give it to us. If it's anything any good, they won't give it to us.
But I mean, like Kim, and you know, we heard from Jack Murray. He might not necessarily like the way Kim does his business, but at the end of the day, you have your Kim McMenamins out there that are saying, you know, I was saying this a year ago, 18 months ago, and everyone said I was a racist. Now everyone's saying the same thing. I mean, was there not opportunity for, as this was unfolding, for us to put in place a policy to ensure it didn't happen as is?
Yeah, the parties are jumping on the bandwagon now because they see votes and they're U-turning and flip-flopping on immigration, and they're making it look like Fine Gael, Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil are a uni-party. Now you can judge a government by the strong government, but you can also judge a government if there's a weak opposition. If there's a weak opposition, then the weak opposition who didn't oppose anything in government, agreed with everything on migration, want to get into power, like Sinn Féin, how are they going to stand up and look the people in the eye, look their children in the eye and said, we did something to protect you. You didn't even do it at local level. How are you going to do it at national level?
I'm going to bring Liam in, but respond to that, Jack. It's a direct...
Look, see this week, like there's no opposition. If you listen to Highland Radio on a weekly basis, you'll hear Sinn Féin member after Sinn Féin member questioning and opposing government policy on a regular...
No, you're doing it.
Kim, calm yourself. But I have to say, a lot of this information that Kim bases his soundbites on are from social media. They're from Twitter.
The internet.
And I'll finish this point.
Right.
And to put it in context, and I can't believe what I'm about to say in an election debate. On the 9th and 12th of July last year, on social media, Kim posted videos arguing that the Earth is flat. Now, this is the level of research.
Untrue.
If anybody wants to listen on the radio,
go
now,
back and look.
Search his page, the 9th and 12th of July last year. Videos arguing strongly that the Earth is flat.
Right.
Untrue. I asked the question. Now you're trying to divert from your lack of standing up for people on the ground.
But I really don't think we can get into the flat Earth.
Flat Earth, Jack. You're for real.
Just one quick question, Kim.
It was a question on a post. It was not a post about flat Earth.
Kim, this is nothing to do with this. I'm just bloody curious. Yeah. Do you rule out a flat Earth?
Hold on.
No,
I want to finish this point.
Briefly, okay.
I want to finish this
right,
point.
come here, we'll come back to that. Come here, I want to bring, we'll come back to you. But you can answer that question.
Yeah.
You can answer that question before we finish.
Well, I asked the question, the scientists who are saying, is the Earth flat, do they have a good point? That was a question.
Right, okay.
But there as a general debate, I was not promoting.
No, I have to.
Jack kissed his tooth so low. Jack Murray,
Liam's been very patient.
I have to break in to some extent. We have to move on from migration to an extent, but as I say, IPAS has been very, how would you say, uncaring and just hoovering up accommodation. Correct. And it doesn't care what happens to the tourist industry, to the housing lists, to the students. And that was even before the Ukrainian thing happened, and it just got so much worse after the war started. Sinn Féin has been for open borders in the past. Since the March referendums, it's changed its position. Yep. Since the March referendums, it's changed position on the March referendums. These are facts. These are facts.
Our 2020 manifesto stated categorically.
Well, your people, your spokesman spoke for open borders in the meantime.
Manifesto to be contested.
I think just to mention that, I think there was a quote from Mary Lou McDonald that was widely misquoted in relation to that, if the truth be told.
Sinn Féin is very easy to misquote because of the way they phrase things, so they're very easy to misquote. You're very easy.
It's black and white who let the people down, that's for sure. We all know who they are, and they're at this table.
The biggest issue contributing at the moment, and we have to give it some time, is defective blocks.
Yes, and I'll tell you what we'll do, and I hope you all recognise that's precisely what I wanted to come back and talk about, but it went down a different route. But I'll come back and start with you, and we'll work around the table on defective concrete. But I do have to take a break, and we'll dedicate, I would say, the majority of the end of the show on this. As I say, I tried to go down that route. It ended up back on the migration issue, and I don't want to be accused either of not giving people an opportunity to have their say.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
The 9 till Noon Show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Bring on summer with Dunnes Stores. Fire up the grill with 3 for €10 on a range of meat and fish, like succulent ribs, chicken, flaky salmon and juicy beef burgers. Served in fresh buns, rolls and wraps. Mix and match 3 for €3. And a range of delicious sauces, only €1.50. Plus, you can save at the till with a 10 off 50 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used from next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Tuchelt. Bíimid fad á déanamh. Well, ní bhíimid fad. An bhfuil tú I do hí I duchaltóir. Seans nach tusa tá ann mar sin. Agus sulam ris an aine talamh, ní mór dóibh seáil an bhfuil aon fi blianta gáis ann. Dé tá curisteach mór a bheith ann mar an dhéantar aimlig, ní rud éigean níos massa a ríis. Túr cuairt gasnetworks.ie/dig chun seáil. Teachtarach sa bháilteachta ó Gas Networks Ireland.
This Friday is Guide Dog Day. At Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind, we need your support to change the lives of those who are vision impaired and the families of children with autism. Donate at guidedogs.ie or call 0818 506 300. Support us and you will be changing lives.
For the biggest names in perfume and aftershaves, visit McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Dolce & Gabbana, Paco Rabanne, Carolina Herrera, Calvin Klein, Jimmy Choo and Burberry, Ariana Grande, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Vera Wang and many more. From timeless classics to celebrity favourites, there's a perfume or aftershave for everyone at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie.
Don't miss the tumbling paddies at the Abbey Hotel, Donegal Town on Bank Holiday Sunday, 2nd of June. Doors open at 9 with the tumbling paddies on stage at 10:30. Secure your tickets now at Eventbrite for an unforgettable night with one of the hottest bands around. That's Sunday, 2nd of June, the tumbling paddies live at the Abbey Hotel, Donegal Town.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonahur Road, Donegal Town.
Choosing to have a chicken fillet roll is easy. The hard part is butter or mayo, plain or spicy, coleslaw or cheese, coleslaw and cheese. Shop smart, feel good with Centra's meal deal. Get a chicken fillet roll with 2 fillings, select soft drinks and a small pack of potato, all for just $7.50 plus DRS deposit. Centra. Live every day.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Hall Lifford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Hall Lifford.
Here at Century Complex, Century Play is currently undergoing renovations, but we are still open for exciting movies in Century Cinemas and delicious food in Backstage Bar and Grill. Be sure to keep an eye on our social media pages for updates. For more information, give us a call on 07491 21976 now.
Still putting up with frustratingly slow broadband? Don't wait any longer. Imagine's high-speed broadband is being installed right now. Sign up today to get our hero package for just $49.99, saving you €180. Visit Imagine.ie or free phone 1800 938 407 to upgrade to faster broadband faster. Subject to location and availability. Minimum 18-month contract. Activation fees and annual price change of CPI plus 3% applies. Offer ends 30th of June. See Imagine.ie for full terms and conditions.
For new perspectives and a fresh vision, join me, Greg Hughes, on the 9 till noon show every Thursday at 10:15 for your voice, your community. Okay, we were just having a very interesting conversation there off air as to the remainder of the show. This show has flown in and some great contributions from everyone and in fair play, for the most part, respectful, robust, which is good. But I mean, obviously, and it was pointed out as well, this is a local election and, there's bread and butter stuff out there as well. And I got pulled up by Fionan Bradley, so I might as well start with him. What do you see as also outside of the big ones as the bread and butter issues for Buncrana?
Well, Peter alluded to one of them in his opening remarks about the leisure centre. It really is absolutely criminal that the second biggest town in County Donegal is without a leisure centre. It's just unacceptable and really it is farcical. And I know that there might be movement now, but it's too little movement at too slow a pace.
Is that not now being coupled with the shorefront plan? I'll let you in a sec, Jack. Yeah.
Apparently it is going to be, but back 17 or 18 years ago there was 3.8 million in funding got at that time from the swimming pool fund to refurbish the leisure centre that's there now, and that money has never been drawn down or never been spent, you know. But the point is, it's not a refurbishment job now, it's a full demolition and rebuild.
And the longer it takes, the more expensive it becomes.
Yeah, and the more Buncrana and Inishowen school children don't learn to swim, and I mentioned already I'm a teacher. Part of my work is teaching children with special educational needs and additional needs, and most of the time we have to take those students into Derry now, and quite often you're away nearly a full day, and it's tiring for them and tiring for the staff that are going with them, and the good is gone out of it. But if we had that facility there right on our doorstep, we could have those students down, you know, maybe once a week, and it would be such a benefit to them, and indeed to every child who should be able to learn to swim in a seaside town like Buncrana. It's a life-saving skill.
Yeah, Liam Mulligan, you wanted to come in there?
Funnily enough, I'm speaking as an engineer. The root cause, we go for root cause analysis, and the root cause of why you don't have a pool is the same root cause as why we have the defective concrete problem. It's that keeping it going, maintaining it, is not politically interesting. Keeping enough people to process immigrants, keeping enough people to supervise the production of aggregate, that they're producing it correctly, maintaining a thing. With the demolition and rebuild of the pool, you will now get a half a dozen political announcements by ministers or TDs or councillors. Whereas if you had kept the pool going, if the money had been made available to keep the pool going, there would have been no political announcements. No one thanks you for a clean floor or a clean bathroom. You only get the thank you when a new bathroom is built. And this is the core political philosophies of the large parties, that they want to be able to cut ribbons rather than actually keep the place working.
Is that not a big reach to say that you allow something to fall into disrepair and out of use and leave it sitting idle for ages, even though it's one of the biggest things in Buncrana that people want, so that down the line you can rebuild it and cut a ribbon? That's
no, but it's the psychological approach. It's the psychological approach to maintenance. This is a well-known psychological issue.
Is this why we don't have public toilets?
Part of the reason as well.
Sorry.
You know,
Jack hasn't had a word on this one.
I think that's a bit misguided. It's probably just a bit of disrespect to the committee.
What is?
To say that it was intentionally left idle. Well, I finished the point. So, look, I can hand on heart say that I think nobody has worked harder on this leisure centre than I have. The reason that it's now coupled as part of the Rural Regeneration Development Fund initiative was a motion I moved and an argument that I put forward that it be included on. So there's going to be €10 million included in that application as part of the wider shorefront development. I'm delighted now that just as I arrived here today, I got a text from one of the council engineers saying it's also in advance of that going to be submitted as part of an application to as a strategic sports capital infrastructure for large projects. That closing date is in July, so that's within a matter of months.
But how does this deliver it, Jack? I mean, it sounds like a different ways about talking about the same problem, and those listening really what they want to know is, well, when can I
go swimming? 100%. And look, I want my daughter to go swimming.
So
there.
when will that be, do you think?
Well, as we stand, and we've actually a lot of progress now in the last year. The leisure centre is completely designed. The architects have signed off on that. It's gone into detailed design, and that's the likes of the specifications of the flume and the likes of the heating system and all. So that's all being teased out. So we are very advanced. Planning permission has been approved by Donegal County Council. So we have the project there ready to go. It's basically getting a checkbook.
Right, Fionan, I'm going to bring you back in, but first, Peter, did you want to come in on that?
I just wanted
That's
to say,
Peter McLaughlin, by the way, sorry.
Right, that the work that the committee had done in relation to the pool, it was one of the cost of it was one of the most pools don't make money, but the Buncrana pool was one of the most well run, most cost effective. In relation to who was working for the pool, whatever, that funding was there. I had worked with several ministers in order, and no pun intended, but Michael Ring was the last minister, and he ring fenced £2 million that was to be drawn down. It wasn't drawn down. I don't know why.
Well, the council has ring fenced money for this project in the past in multiple budgets, but it still hasn't delivered the project.
Yes, well, I'm just talking about people. There's multiple people have been working on this pool for Buncrana.
But I can say there's O2 funds that are going to apply for. The one at the end of July and there's one at the end of October. The pool is now shovel ready. Once the money's released, it's diggers on the ground.
Fionan,
so
you wanted to come back in?
Yeah, no, just on the
and
point.
then I'll bring Kim, and if anyone wants a word on it as well.
On the point that Liam had made, about the pool kind of been run into the ground, and I don't really accept that, because if you look at Finn Valley and if you look at the Ora Leisure Centre, the difference is that they're both state-owned. They're were ran and maintained by the council, whereas the leisure centre
maybe
in Buncrana wasn't.
That's what you call plausible deniability.
No, but sorry, just if I could finish my point, the pool in Buncrana was owned by a co-op and ran by a private committee, so it was entirely different and entirely more difficult for the Buncrana Leisure Centre to keep going. But when the new pool is built and established, it will be council owned and maintained, and it will be, ran differently.
Kim McMenamin, do you want a word on this?
Yeah, I think at a national level, leisure centres and pools should always have been subsidised by government, the same as in Northern Ireland. I think that, and it shouldn't be a matter for the Donegal County Councils to try and figure it out and beg for money off Europe and beg for money off the government. It should be a matter of fact thing for children. Somewhere where they can meet, a drop-in centre, leisure centre, all the facilities should be there. They can print money, the EU can print money for anything Ireland wants, and they just demand the money, and then that's stealing out of your back pocket. It's called inflation. I ask people, well, what do you think is the biggest, deficit in your money, in your pay packet? And they say taxation. I said, what about inflation? Because if you go into Aldi or Lidl now to buy something that you bought 6 months ago for £100, say groceries, it's going to be 140, 150 right now. So inflation is stealing the working man's pay packet. It's a the highest form of theft that you could ever think of.
Inflation gouging too was and
it's unreal.
It is a shocker because people have to live with that.
Yeah, but they can't print money when they need it.
Yeah, people might not be so upset about paying the likes of a local property tax if this is the type of stuff it was going towards. Everyone keeps talking about dairy. You pay your rates, you get your services. Eamon, would that be something that you'd be in favour of? I mean, if we are paying a local property tax, surely the logical thing would be for it to be not used to match fund tourism products, but actually to deliver services for the people.
What's very important first is people's mental health. Anything to do with sports clubs, swimming pools, it has to be encouraged. I would also, we have to look at all the sports clubs that are playing rates, gyms. Look, everything's gone up so high. No, I personally believe places like small gyms where people are getting out and, people suffering their mental health, these people should be given free rates, full stop. And it's crucifying, even the small businesses everywhere. We have to help them. It's keeping jobs in our community. It's keeping people, from sitting in their houses. It's very important. This is one of the main things that, as a nation, our children need to get out of houses. They need the sports clubs there, whether it's a swimming pool or a football club or a gym or whatever. And I would encourage, look, I'm all supportive. I don't mind paying a couple of pound extra tax.
Listen, all these issues. Okay, we're in a debate here. We're in an election cycle. Everyone's looking for votes, and obviously, the people are going to sort of try and one-up man and what have you. But I mean, do you think you all could work together as elected representatives for the benefit of Buncrana? I mean, Kim, do you think you could get on with these guys and actually deliver on the bread and butter issues if elected?
Absolutely. I feel I could, and I have a strong will in the community. I've had to be a county councillor on the ground, I've had to be an organiser, and I've had to be a guardian of the community. I've had to be these things, and I shouldn't have to do that. Listen, I am doing it for my grandchildren and my children and everybody else's children in the community. So I've stood up on the ground, and I know what I can do, and I know I can work with people, and of course we can all work together. 100%.
What about you, Fionan?
Oh, Greg, absolutely, yeah, without any shadow of a doubt. I listed at the start the number of committees and organisations that I'm involved in, so I'm well used to working with people and in my day-to-day life in school, and anybody that knows me would know I run 1,000 miles away from confrontation, believe it or believe it not. So if I am elected, I definitely will, not even I will work with the other Aontu councillors to deliver 100% redress for homeowners, to deliver our leisure centre, to deliver respite services for children with special educational needs and additional needs, and all those very important local issues that the councillors might actually have a say over or be able to affect change on.
Jack, do you think the sitting council and the way the council does its work does enough to represent the people? There are some that say there's been a lacking in terms of defective concrete, that maybe the council hasn't been to the forefront in fighting the issues as it relates to hospital services, CDNT services. A lot of that is organised by regular folk, played out on the media, thankfully then it's picked up and we get something done. But does the council not have a role in being more representative of the people on these issues and using the time to sort of say, right, you know what, guys, you voted for us, we've got your back here, we've got the Donegal jersey on. Sometimes that feels very absent, I'm not going to lie.
I don't disagree with that. If you talk about the council as a body, I don't think it has done enough for people. I don't think it has represented enough people. I can stand over my own record, and I think in the 13 years that I've been a councillor, I have worked very hard. You talk about defective blocks. The year I was mayor was the only time that there was a series of standalone meetings facilitated to discuss that issue. Eamonn was talking about the IS 465. As mayor, I met with the Department of Housing along with Deputy Mayor Martin McDermott, and I argued very strongly that it's not mica, that it's pyrite and it's other deleterious materials. So I've taken that fight, and the council, of course, could always do better, but I'll stand on my own track record, and I think that I've put those issues to the fore.
Would you like to do things differently in the council if elected, Liam? Or are you just going to walk in, become another one of those 37, 38, and it's just the same stuff? I'm not saying that, by the way, I'm not being critical of the council, okay? I'm just sort of saying, you know, what are people bringing that might be something a little bit different, if anything?
There has to be a view of the council as the bottom-up element of democracy, you know, of representing. And yes, we have to cooperate with each other for Donegal. You know, why didn't we automatically get at least as good a deal as the pyrites in Dublin to begin with? So we need a zero cost to victims approach on the thing, and we have a position where people who bought a house in an estate off the plans, they just sent in a surveyor, the bank sent in and bought the house, and now they have to project manage demolition, planning permission, construction, stage payments. This is impossible. We need actually a task force, and we need the council to push for a task force to actually help people sort out their problems.
And of course,
the defective houses. And the council has to come together to do this for Donegal, for transport, and for all the other things.
But Eamonn McGee, listeners might say, look, if the council can't get its house in order to look after people living in their own stock that's affected by defective concrete, what hope for the rest?
That's 100%. Look, listen, we've been left behind. Like, you know, you have to look at Dublin. They got 100%, full stop. People are Donegal are at the bottom. You know, they're left behind in everything. They destroyed our railways years ago, but now we've got the, you know, higher taxes because of climate change and CO2s and all that. You know, there's a load of things that we've been left behind. What can we really do about it? You know, can our TDs do anything, you know, better for our communities? I do believe they can. You know, for one of them was, you know, they could have took out a judicial review on behalf of the defective block homeowners. These people some of these TDs have taken ones out before. You know, if they were really been honest with the people, they could have done it, and they could have saved us, you know, from going to the courts and costing us our own personal money. You know, where will it? You know, this is the only way, really. You know, that we're really going to get anywhere forward. Right. We don't want to do this.
I get you.
You know, we would wish our TDs could do this on our behalf. But look, we have no money. This is the best opportunity we're going to get, and this is the only way, you know, we have a good chance of getting compensation.
All right, Peter McLaughlin, Fine Gael.
Well, I think we are entitled to the same as what happened around Dublin, and you can't make chalk out of one and cheese out of the other. We should be getting the same deal. That's how I feel. We should be getting the same deal. Should be treated like second-class citizens. And I think from a council point of view and what control we have, or what control councillors would have, I think there should be a streamlining of the procedure. And instead of having this, you're going to trying to get on the scheme, instead of this two hands up, this putting obstacles in front of you, they should be putting an arm around you and saying, right, here we are. Have a meeting, have the planners in place, have the appropriate people in place, that you're making an application, they take you in, process your application and remove the obstacles that they're putting in your place. Okay. So the streamlines it for everyone. The mental anguish that this is causing the people is unbelievable. 50% of the patients reporting for mental care are related to the mica issue.
Yeah, it's horrendous. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. We're all happy enough, are we?
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
Good stuff. I'm waiting patiently to get it on the record. No, listen. By the way, listen. It's been really interesting. It's been robust, and I think for the most part, it's been fair. Peter, sorry.
Can I just say, my godfather and my uncle is in hospital today, and I'm just Peter McLaughlin, namesake. I just wish him a speedy recovery.
Very good, and thanks for coming up nonetheless. We do appreciate that. Really enjoyed it. Fionan Bradley, thank you very much for calling up to us. Fianna Fáil, Jack Murray, Sinn Féin, Liam Mulligan of Aontu, Kim McMenamin, Independent/Irish People's Party, Eamonn McGee's an independent, focused on 100% redress through the channels he's taking, and also Peter McLaughlin. Thank you all, and the best of luck. I think it's fantastic to put yourself in front of the people, and there's so few that would detract from it that wouldn't actually do it themselves. So I'm full of admiration for you all, and hopefully lots and lots of people come out and we get a council that's representative of the people's views and not just online views and what have you. All right, thank you very much indeed. All right, that was our Buncrana debate, the first of two. We are going to take a break. We're heading towards news, and then you can switch online where we will be hosting our second EU debate. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up, as I say, after the news.